All right, guys. Happy Thursday. Happy Thursday. Today, interest rates, the 30-year fixed rate, the 30-year average for the United States, fixed rate mortgage average dropped today. And we have some pretty good news, right? So actually, it had been going up these last 2 weeks, and it went down a tick, just a tenth of a basis point here. So not a whole lot, but just enough that it's not it's the same. Let's leave it there. It's basically the same. Look here at this example that we have here, right on the 1% rule. That's not going to change anything, but on the DSCR, let's see what 0.1% difference makes in the interest rates. Nothing, no difference at all. And actually, I put it wrong, right? It's 0.36. But yeah, it does nothing at all. Doesn't even tickle it. All right, so with that being said, that is the new interest rate that we're going to be using to analyze properties this week. All right, there are 12 properties that we got to get through, so let's get them done as soon as we can. All right, with that being said, the market is still the same, guys. It's basically a one-to-one. New houses hitting the market and houses that are seeing a price decrease. So it's not like anything's changed really. And again, that's good for buyers because you're going to be able to go out to the sellers and say like, listen, um, out of every single buyer that's coming onto the market, there is another one dropping this price. If you haven't dropped your price yet, your competitors are dropping the price. Keep that in mind. I want to work with you. I want to make the deal work. This is the best offer I can give you right now. But if interest rates were to go up, like that's going to change too. And so you could, and if you share this information, right, you could share a screenshot of this, whatever it may be. The more information that you could share with a seller, you'd be surprised. I want to say like 8 times out of 10, the sellers don't really even know how the market's looking. They have an idea of the market, and it's not, the realtor, because they want to get the listing, they don't tell them sometimes the harsh truth. They overprice it, and that's how you end up with deals that could be look really bad. But usually these people will come down on their price. It's just going to take a while. And so if you're in the market and you're looking to buy quick, you can use that expediency to also push that onto the sellers and say like, hey, listen, here's my pre-approval or here are my proof of funds. I want to close this quick. I want to make a good deal for you so you could go out there and maybe get a good deal too, or whatever you're going to do, like right off into the sunset now before, interest rates drop. Because guess what? When interest rates drop, not only are houses going to get more expensive, everything's going to get more expensive, right? But I mean, at the end of the day, the reason that we're here is to live life and it's to enjoy it as soon as we can. And I'm pretty sure that's the reason that you're investing in property. That's the reason I invest in property because, well, not only do I want to live a good life, but by living a good life, I can live a good life by giving other people nice places to live, right? Good landlords to have, landlords that care about them, landlords that pick up their calls when they call. So with that being said, let's look at the properties and see what is happening in Miami-Dade. Come down here, new multis, and there are 12 properties. We're going to come down here. We're going to click on this. All right, and we're going to sort by price per square foot, starting with the most expensive. Okay, so let's get started. The price here is a $1.2 million. All right, how much are they paying in property taxes? $13,398. And interest rates are what they are. Square feet wise, 1,776. Hey, that's the founding year of the United States, right? So, all right, cool. How much are they collecting in rent? They said they're collecting $7,600, which isn't all too bad. All right, but given their price that they want for the house, it's not that good. Look at that. On the 1% rule, if you're only collecting $7,600 a month, right, you're not going to be getting a whole lot of money, or it's not going to represent so much in the 1% rule, right? It's not going to look very good at all. And let me do something here really quick, guys. I just realized that I'm not showing here the total rent. So that is something that I will have to fix for the next one. So, but that being said, let's see, what does that actually translate to? But before we do that, I'm all over the place today. Let's look at the pictures of the property. Okay, what the hell is this? It's like a White Castle. This is super strange. All right, let's look at the guts of the listing here and see what they are selling The offering represents the acquisition of 4 contiguous condo units in Castle Meridian Condo. Oh, okay. So yeah, that's not what we're looking for. All right, that's not a fourplex, bro. It's a freaking condo, right? The look at this, right? Property use is condominium. You can't turn this into a multifamily, a 4-unit multifamily, okay? Even if the current owner is Apartment and Suite Inc. Okay, they might be using these as Airbnbs, which is a whole different thing, but it's definitely not a multifamily. All right, so we're not even going to really take a look at that, and just for shits and giggles, $1,900 again. If you buy this property the way it is right now, the return that you would get on it is basically an 8.6%, which is pretty crappy, right? Like, so let's go ahead, let's get rid of this property. I'm not even going to write it down because it's not a legit multifamily, and we'll keep moving. Okay, this one is a triplex in Miami-Dade. They want basically the same amount of money for it, right? They want 1180, okay? $1,180,000. They're paying $12,368,000 a year in taxes. Square feet wise, 2,244 square feet. Okay. They don't say how much you're collecting in rents. Flood zone is AE, so you're going to pay a bit of a premium there for the flood insurance. And the property doesn't look all that bad, right? It looks actually pretty cute. On the inside, I mean, I would want to live here. This is nice. Yeah. This bathroom's really pretty. I mean, it's really tight. I don't know how you're going to look at yourself in the mirror there. You have to jump in the shower to look at yourself in the mirror. Okay, so there's that, guys. Now, they don't tell us how much they're collecting in rent, but we know that the quality of the product is really good. Let's look at the guts of this deal, see what we could figure out. All right, it's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, a 2-bedroom, 1-bath, and a 1-bedroom, 1-bath. They're all furnished. Okay, so this is basically, yeah, wow. So, I mean, you might as well do Airbnb with this if it comes furnished. But in this channel, what we look at is long-term rents because it's less headaches to deal with than Airbnbs, right? That just requires, that's a whole different ballgame. So with that being said, let's look at this really quick and see what we could figure out here. It's a 3-2, okay? Now it's in Miami-Dade, right? So a 3-2 in Miami-Dade, the median for a 3-2 is $3,000. I think this could get well above the $3,000 mark because it's so nice. It should be able to rent out for maybe $4,000. All right. Then there's a 2-1. All right. And I think a 2-1 could maybe rent out for $3,000. Okay. And then there's a 1-1. And I think that the 1-1 again could probably rent out for close to like $2,000 if it really is that nice. So if you could actually get these for long-term rent, right? And of course you want to do your market research, right? This turns into a 0.76% kind of a property. So it's not a 1%, but it is close to 1%. It's 0.76%. All right. This would be enough if you could actually collect these rents to pay for 128% of your mortgage if you do a DSCR type loan, which is an investor loan, right? They don't need your pay stubs. They don't need your income. You need to have like okay credit, and you got to be able to show that the rents are going to be able to pay for the mortgage. Okay. Now, that being said, what is the return that the property could give you? I think that at best, this property is going to be able to give you, and we'll put it right here, right? So let's write it down, 1.18 million. It's a triplex. It's in Miami-Dade. The best rents I think that this property could produce at long term is going to be $9,000 a month, and that's going to produce a return of 12.6%. Now, I think that this is the highest that you could possibly get for this, right? I don't see that this guy's in some sort of distress. Let's double check. He's not. Oh, wait, it was the wrong property. Yeah, no, he doesn't owe any back taxes or anything like that. All right. Now, what's a realistic price drop? I think that it's realistic that this guy could drop, 10% on this or close to 10%. So let's say he drops, what is it, $120,000. So let's say he drops $90,000 or $80,000, right? So take this out. If you had an $80,000 price drop, then this turns into a better investment, obviously, at a 14.6. All right. So even though this one is a little expensive, this property could make sense. And if you can negotiate just $80,000 off the price, man, this property could really, it could be a real looker. And I mean, with a triplex, it could even give you the opportunity, right? That one day, once you own it free and clear, you could move into one of the one units. It just gives you a lot more opportunity. And as of course you scale up in units, when one tenant leaves you, like it's easier to fill that gap. But yeah, it's completely furnished. So the idea that you could maybe rent it out for even more money totally makes sense. So with that being said, guys, let's take a look at the next property. Let's discard this one and keep it moving. Okay, so next up, they want $1,075,000 for this duplex in Broward County that's paying a crap ton in taxes. $20,646 a year in taxes. That's going to kill a lot of the revenue here. All right, square feet wise, 2,166 square feet. All right, total rents that they're collecting are $6,050 a year a month in rents. All right, flood zone is mixed, A, H, and X. So you're going to pay a bit of a premium here, not a whole lot, but you're going to pay a premium there, an additional premium. But the property looks nice, right? It's pretty cute. Yeah, it's nice. Yeah. The parking is interesting because everybody needs to park in here, and like you would want to drive over this so you could park there comfortably, not come in here and like kind of like zigzag, unless you're gonna like say that you're gonna put parking spaces here and then parking spaces there. Maybe that's what they're thinking. Yeah, but right, it is what it is, right? We're in Broward County now. What do we think that we could actually get for rents? Let's look at the guts of this deal and see if they're estimating the correct rent. So it's in Hollandale Beach, not a bad area. Okay, so it's 232s, guys, and they're saying that they're getting $3,100 for one, and that they're getting $2,950 for the other one. That's what they think that they could get in Hallandale. And I think that, right, like with that being said, obviously, like this deal doesn't look like it's going to be making a whole lot of sense. It's about half, of a 1% rule kind of a property. It doesn't even pay, right? If that's all they could really collect in rents, it doesn't even pay for the mortgage here. And so the returns here would be a 5.6% return at best. That looks pretty freaking terrible. But let's write it down because that's actually what this property is performing at right now, at 1.075. And this is a duplex, and this is in where is this? Broward County. Collecting only $6,050 a month. The best return this property is going to give you is a 5.6%. Okay. Now, how much do I think that this property could actually get? I think that this could actually go for a little bit more money. It's in Hallandale Beach, right? So it depends exactly where in Hallandale Beach it is. But on average in Broward County, a 3-bedroom, 2-bath should be going for more money than just the $3,100, right? The max is $38,000. This is a brand new product. I think that you should easily be able to get $3,200, $3,300 here. I think $3,300 wouldn't be too far out. All right, 33 here. And I think that that's what you should actually be renting that unit out for, right? And a price drop. I mean, what's a realistic price drop? I think that, again, you could probably take off 75 grand for this property, right? You could actually use his rent numbers against him and say like, hey, listen, man, these are the rent numbers that you're getting. Like, there's no way, like, even if you verify that you could get more rents, right? Like, you say, right, like, hey, listen, man, like, these are the rent numbers that you're getting. If I get these rent numbers, like, I'm not going to be making a profit here. I need you to bring the price down. And if you could actually bring that price down to 75K, right, then the best return this property is going to give you, is still not good. 6.6%. And that's pretty freaking terrible. Yeah, so it goes from 5.6 to 6.6. And guys, what's killing it here are these taxes. These taxes are just killing you, because even if you said like, damn, if the taxes were like, I don't know, 15,000, right, a year, look how much it goes up. It almost goes up to 8%. So yeah, these taxes are just destroying what this property could be worth. The value here is just too low. So with that being said, discard this property. Unfortunately, as pretty as it is, we're gonna go ahead and have to pass up on it. Next up, all right, it's a 1.125 $1 million fourplex, okay, in Broward County. They're paying $8,783 a year in taxes. Interest rates are what they are. Square feet here is 2,317 square feet, okay, and the total rents are $6,900. Now, let's take a look at the pictures here, kind of quality of the property that we're looking at. So it's pretty cute, right? So this is pretty nice. It doesn't have a pool, flat roof, which I don't like, but it's got the tile roof too, so that's pretty nice. What the heck is this? It's like a snorkel for the house. Yeah, it's really nice on the inside. Yeah, it's really cute. Mini split, not a fan of mini splits. Oh, it's mini split throughout. Okay, interesting. There's no central AC, but hey, there's no it's a flat roof, so it's kind of hard to put central AC there. All right, let's take a look at the guts of this deal, but the property looks really nice. All right, exceptional value add 4-unit multifamily located in Fort Lauderdale's high, most desirable, high demand rental pockets, just minutes south of Wilton Manors, yada 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 yada. All right, but they don't say much about the units, apart from the fact that it's a studio, a 2-bedroom, a 1-bedroom, and a studio. So 2 studios, a 2-bed, and a 1-bed. Let's make sure that this is a multifamily. Yep, it's a multifamily. It says it's 3 units, but maybe they made 2 units out of 1. That tends to happen sometimes. But they say, so it's 2 studios, okay? Now, what do studios, first of all, they're saying that that's what they're getting in total. Let's see, 1,550, 2,000, 1,700, and 1,650, right? That's $6,900. That means that at that point, this $1.125 million fourplex in Broward that only brings in $6,900 a month, the best returns you're going to get is an 8.5% return. All right. Now, what happens? Are these the best rents we could get here for this property? All right. Well, a studio in Broward, right, that looks like this. I mean, they're saying that they're getting $1,650. That's what a 1-bedroom rents out for. Okay. So I don't think that we could really go much higher than this. But I'm surprised that the 2-bedroom is only renting for $2,000, right? This 2-bedroom, I think, should be renting out for considerably more money. I think that you could actually rent this 2-bedroom out for $2,400. Okay, and then the 1-bedroom, they're saying that they're just getting $1,700 for it. Well, you know what? I think that you should actually be getting more. I think that if you do the market study here, you'd find that you could get $1,900 for that 1-bed, and that would bring your new rent up to $7,500. Now, was this property in distress? I think that we looked at it now. It didn't seem like the folio number reported that there was back taxes owed, so no. And what's a realistic price drop that we could see on this property? I think that you could probably take off $100K from this property easy, just because the numbers just aren't really quite penciling out, at least the way that they're reporting them. And if you're actually able to negotiate $100K off, okay, then the returns don't look, they still look bad, right? I'm not gonna lie, 11.8% return is not that great. It's in my book, it's basically still in D territory. So I would go ahead, and as nice as this property is, I think it would be hard to get more rent than this for the property. It's got the flat roof. It's got like the multiple mini splits. Those are headaches. Every single place that I've been to, like when I Airbnb and I stay like a long time and they have mini splits, they don't cool very well, or they have some kind of problem that like I'm calling for, and then the landlord has to like deal with. And I feel so bad for those landlords, man, because like, I'm really nice. Like I'll call and I'll say like, hey, listen, like, but it's when it's AC and it's like hot outside, like you want that fixed like ASAP. So not a fan of that stuff. I'm gonna go ahead and discard this property. Okay, next up, it's a $1.5 million fourplex. 1.5, almost 1.6. And the way that they come up with these prices for these houses, it's interesting. They're paying $17,050 a year in taxes for this. Square feet, 3,400 square feet. All right, and they don't tell us how much they're collecting in rent, but they do tell us in flood zone AE, which isn't the best, but it is what it is. Box AC is the first thing I notice. All right, property looks a little, it doesn't look that bad. Okay, five breakers there. All right, oops. And then 2 more. Okay, so is this interesting? Okay. Very interesting. So yeah, it's 6 units. 6 units, guys, in Miami Beach. Okay. Strong cash flow with gross rental income exceeding $11,300 a month. So let's put that up here because they didn't say it at first. Okay. They're making $11,300 a month is what they're saying. And guys, if you know the 1% rule, right? Like this is not going to be like terrible. It's probably going to be close to like the 70% of the 1% rule. Yeah. So 0.7. All right. They don't give us a unit breakdown. Oh, it says including 4 spacious 1-1s and 2 studio apartments. Okay. So 4 1-1s and 2 studios. Now in Miami-Dade, the average price of a 1-1 is $1,600. So, I mean, we saw the quality here, right? It doesn't look terrible, but it's not like amazing either. All right. So I would say that this is maybe like, but it's in Miami Beach. So maybe give it a little bit more, say like $2,000 equals 4 times 2,000. And then how much do you guys want for the studios? Like 1,200 equals 2 times 1,200. So my total is 10,400, right? They're saying 11,300. It's not that far off. I'm going to say that, like, it could be possible. Just double check the rents. But if that's the case, and this $1.575 million 6 unit in Miami-Dade collecting $11,300 a month, the best return that this property is going to give you is just going to be right north of 10.6%, 10.6%. But this is commercial multifamily, guys. So the financing for this works totally differently than it would for the anything that's 4 units and down. So I don't see that this guy is in some sort of like, let's look at the folio number. Okay, so he is behind on taxes since 2024. I lie. This guy's behind on taxes. Interesting. This guy's behind on taxes. So, maybe he's willing to get a haircut here, right? I would take off $200,000 right off the bat. So, what he saw at 137, right? And I mean, it's commercial, so he has it under LLC. Like, you could maybe take off 300,000, right? And if you could get this property for 1.275, all of a sudden it's not looking that bad. Shoot, if you could get it for 1.1, right, then this property could be amazing. The question here is, right, he's either going to get this property stripped from him by the city because he's not paying his taxes, he's going to declare some kind of bankruptcy, or the bank's going to retake it, right? If the bank's just going to retake it, then he's probably just going to try to collect the rent as much as he can, and then just, lose the property. Um, the bank might ask him to short sell it. He might be able to, but why would you keep the company at that point? So there's a lot, but at least this shows you guys that there's a multifamily out here that you could keep an eye on. And if you do want to play this game, you could be the first one in line, because you know that this guy at some point, he's gonna lose this property, right? He's probably not making enough money on it, unfortunately. Um, so it's the way kind of capitalism works. But I don't really think that he would sell it for you, maybe like less than that. So I think that the best return that this property could give you, if you could negotiate what $300,000 off, is going to be a 16.6% return, and that's a good, B type investment, right? I think that it's also like it's a C class asset, I would say. But C's get degrees, like my friend says. So, you know, it's not too terrible. All right, let's go ahead and discard this one and let's keep looking. Okay, next up, 1.195 million. It's a duplex in Miami-Dade. They are paying $12,900. Interest rates are what they are, man. Square feet wise, 2,839 square feet. And let's look at the rents. They're saying that they're collecting $8,900 a month in rent. Not bad, right? Flood zone X, which is not, it's the best kind of flood zone you could be in. And the property looks nice. Roof looks a little bit older, but on the inside, the property looks gorgeous, actually. I think they have the exact type of flooring that I bought for one of my units. So I can't hate on that. That's really nice. All right, and some of the properties have, or there is just washer dryers outside. I didn't see any on the inside. Mini splits, unfortunately. I hate seeing mini splits. Okay, it is what it is. That's the property, guys. Let's look at the guts of this. So I'm mixed on I think that this is probably like a median market pricing, just because it's nice, but you got to share that washer dryer. That's going to kill a lot. All right, so they have a 3-1. They say that the 3-1 is rented for $2,750. They have another 3-1. They say that they're rented for $2,600. Or they're saying that 3-1 could rent for $2,750. They have a 3-1 rented for $2,600. They have a 1-1 rented for $1,800. And then they have another 1-1 that's rented for $1,750. Sorry, the $1,800 one, that's what they think they could get. All right. And so this is a 1.195. So $1.2 million, right? Duplex here. And so let's see, this is 4 units. It's in Miami-Dade, right? We said this is Miami. Yeah. All right. Well, let's do a quick rent check, because if you could get $8,900 for this in rent, then the best return on investment here is going to be an 11.3% with these stated taxes, right? Now, let's take a look at if that's really the best rent we could get here. Okay, so we go here and we look at the rent check, and they said it was a 3-1, right? So a 3-1 in Miami-Dade could get you $2,700. That's what they are basically getting for it, right? They say you get $2,750. They're getting $2,600. Yeah, I think that you could definitely get $2,700 if you just market it correctly. So let's just assume that you could bump this rent up, right? $2,700. And then for the 1-1s, they're getting way above the median here. They're getting $1,800 and they're getting $1,750. There's no reason why this couldn't be $2,800 then, if they're getting above that for the 1-bedrooms. And if the quality is the same, they just need to market it correctly. And I think that you could bump up the rents there to $9,150. Now, is this guy in some sort of distress? Let's take a quick look at the listing here. We're going to go to the folio number. That was the last property. No, this guy's not. Okay, cool. So with that in mind, the best return this property could give you before negotiating now with a higher rents is going to be like a 12.1%. Now, I think that we could probably take, about 5% off here. So instead of like maybe $100,000, you could probably take off like 50. So bringing this down to 45. And that would bump up your returns, right? If you take off 45K, that would bump up your returns to 13.1%. But keep in mind, guys, for these, we're not calculating how much the taxes are going to go up by. And that's something that you want to make sure that you do with your lender, because for the first year, maybe you'll pay the same taxes that he's paying. But once the property gets reassessed, you'll get reassessed on the higher purchase price that you had. So keep that in mind. Let's go ahead and discard this property. Let's keep looking. All right. Next up, it's a 1.1495. Jesus, down to the 500s, this guy. 1495. Ridiculous. Taxes, they're paying $12,337 a year in taxes. Square feet, 3,044 square feet. Okay. All right, it is what it is. Let's look at the pictures and see the quality of the property. It's cute. It's nice. Good pictures. Nice backyard. Really nice backyard. It's nice on the inside, even though like the ceiling feels like it's right there. Or maybe it's just the pictures, the way they were taken. But it feels like the ceiling is like just right freaking there. Yeah, no, that's definitely the case. I mean, like, dude. Okay, so we know the quality of the place here. It's in Fort Lauderdale, so it's in Broward. It's a 1-1, a 1-1, and a 2-2. Now, for the 1-1 is $1,800. That's what they're getting. For the other 1-1, it's $1,850. That's what they're saying that they're getting. And for that 2-2, they're saying that they're getting $2,895. Okay, guys. And at that point, this property is not going to make any sense. It's about half of a 1% rule. It wouldn't even pay the mortgage at this point. And the return on investment here at best would be a 6.5%. So let's write this stuff down. 1.15 million. Excuse me. All right. It's a triplex. It's in Broward. And they're collecting $65.45 in rents. And the returns there are just going to be 6.5%. Nothing great. Now, the question is, could we raise the rents here, right? So we're in Broward County, a 1-1, right? The median is $1,600. So I think that $1,800 and $1,850 is probably right where they're getting at, right? I don't even think that they could really get that much. And if you can see that here, right? It's a month to month. So I think that if you actually wanted to rent this long term, maybe you can get $1,800 just because it's in this nice neighborhood in Fort Lauderdale. But I mean, I wouldn't stretch it, and this might actually be $1,700. But it doesn't even matter, guys. Let's give them the benefit of the doubt that it could rent for this much, because even at that point, this property kind of sucks as an investment. These returns are terrible. For that, just put it in the S&P and make more money. With that being said, what do I think that you can negotiate? I think you can negotiate a whole 10% off this property. So let's say that's 100. Let's say you can negotiate $150,000 off and just buy it for $1 million. Right? So negotiate the $450K off. Wait, how much? Yeah, sorry, the 150. Negotiate that 150 off. Then the best returns that you could get here are still 7.8%, which is garbage. So for that reason, we're going to go ahead and discard this property and look at the last 5 that we have left here. All right. So we're down to below $400 a square foot. That's usually where we find most of our deals. All right. Let's look at this one. It's low on price per square foot, but the price is astronomical. $2.35 million. And it's a 4-plex in Miami-Dade, and they're currently paying $23,151 a year in taxes. Square feet, all right, it's big, 6,234 square feet. This is huge. Let's take a look at the pictures. I got a feeling that this is a multifamily. Yeah, it's not a 4-plex. It's a multifamily building. right off of downtown. So it's a interesting location. And you have, is that the metro rail that passes right next to it? So interesting. Yeah, dude, that's the metro rail. That's got to be loud. Boy. And they're building something right here too. Dude, you got to put some thick windows on that. Okay. Let's take a look at this property. All right, not good when your pictures have gang signs on them, but and you're painted like slate, like prison gray. Um, but it is what it is. I wonder how much they're actually making here a year. T6 means trailing six, which is the last 6 months of the property's T6 T680 zoning supports future redevelopment up to 8 stories, providing additional long-term investors seeking Miami. Okay, 83% occupied with. Okay. This unit, this 12 unit, so it's 12 units and it's 83% occupied. So let me do my calculator here real quick, guys. So 0.83 times 12. That means that 10 units are occupied and 2 units are unoccupied. The property consists of 11 2-bedroom, 1-bath units. And they say that okay, and he says that they rent for $1,600 a month. So then this property is making, right, equals 10 times 1,600. And so this property is making $16,000 a month, right, at best. So it's less than a 1% rule by far, by a lot, right? And even if they were able to get the other 2 rented, that would be $3,200 additional, right? Now, maybe if you could actually get 100% of the apartment rented out, then it might not be all that bad. If you get all 12 and you could actually verify that you get $1,600 a month. Now they're 1-1s, right? Yeah, 1-1s. And guys, that's the median. The median price in Miami for a 1-1 is $1,600. But look at the condition of the apartments, right? They don't even show the inside. I don't even want to see the inside if the outside looks like this. I don't think that you could actually get the median rents here. I think that that's not accurate. I think that you might be able to get maybe $1,400 if you're lucky for this. I think that you actually end up getting like maybe like $1,200 per, right? Whoops. I think you end up getting $1,200 here. And I think you end up with 24 here. And so these are your real returns, right? 7% return on investment. And why would you even deal with having this to take care of, plus whatever maintenance this building requires, plus 40-year recertifications, structural integrity tests? Like, yeah, it doesn't make any sense. It's not even the cartwheel of the stuff that we look at. So I'm just going to go ahead and discard it. We're not going to write any information down on this. And let's keep going. We're down to our last 4. All right. This one is totally accessible, $649,000. It's a duplex in Miami-Dade County. All right. Let's see. Taxes are only $2,220. All right. You're going to end up paying here, about $10,000, if not more, in taxes per year. Okay. I want to say $12,000 in taxes. So let's underwrite it for that. All right. Interest rates 6.36, square foot 1,854 square feet. All right. They say that they're collecting $4,600 $48, almost $4,700, $46.80 per month in rents. All right, flood zone X. Let's look at the pictures. It's really nice. And actually it has, if that whole area comes with it, that's not bad. That's a whole nother lot. Yeah, that kitchen is horrible. Side of structure. That's the yard. Okay, so this comes with the property. Man, you could add a whole another property here. This is pretty fantastic. All right, let's look at the folio number here, because I'm actually really interested in this property for the space. Okay. And trying to find it here. So it's 2316, right? 23 on 98th. So it's on 98th. We know it's on 98th. 22 23 Northwest 98th. 2316 2337. Two three three five, 233, 2315 Northwest. Huh, interesting. 2318. Let me see it on the map, guys, really quick. You guys can't see it, but wow, yeah, there's this whole another space there. All right. Okay, I found it. Let me show it to you guys. So you can't see what I just saw, but I'll show it to you here. Yeah, the property's like, there we go, 2318. So it's right here, and you could see that there's this whole space here. This whole space here, you could build another unit here, like legit, you could build another duplex. And it's zoned property use, multifamily, 2 living units, land use, 2 living units. They might block you for that just because it's 2 living units, but I mean, yeah, interesting. Worth looking into, because if you could build more here, that would be freaking fantastic. Okay, but for right now, this property is a 3.2 and a 2.1. The 3.2, they're saying that they're collecting $27.80 per month, and that the 2.1, they're collecting $1,900. Whoops, they're collecting $1,900, right? And that would mean that the property is just a 0.72% kind of a property. Now, do I think that you could get more for the rents? Yes, I think that you could actually get more for rents here. But let's write down the information just as is, because these are the numbers I'm going to be using to negotiate with this guy. This is a duplex in Miami-Dade, all right? As our rents are $4,680, and the return here is just going to be at best 8.1%. Okay, now, what are the best possible rents we could get? Well, it's a 3.2 in Miami-Dade. Okay, I think it's not too far off to say that you could get $3,000 for this. Okay, I think you could do that. And now for the 2-bedroom, 1 bath, was it a 2.1? Let's see. Yeah, 2.1. A 2.1 in Miami-Dade, $2,300. Well, you should be able to get. Again, I don't think that this property is the best in the whole world, but I think it's a mid property. So I think that you get $5,300 here. I don't see that this guy's in some sort of distress. Let's look at the folio number, or we saw the folio number. Yeah, no, he wasn't in distress. So we're not going to be able to discount this price a whole lot. But I think we could probably take off that 49. I think that he'd be happy with a $600,000 price offer here. And so if you could discount the 49, you could raise those rents to 5,300 total. The property makes a whole lot more sense, and now is returning about 12.4%. Okay, so all of a sudden this property starts making a whole lot more sense, even though maybe it's not, you know, super awesome, but it also has the benefit of like that extra yard. And if you could go to zoning and find out that you could actually take advantage of that and put something there, then, you know, even better. So let's go ahead and discard this one, and we're down to our last three, guys. All right, this one is a $410,000 duplex in Palm Beach. They're only paying $2,843. I mean, I think that your taxes here are probably going to go up to about like $7,500. Let's just estimate for that. Square feet wise, 1,252 square feet. Do they tell us how much you're collecting rents? They don't, but it's a duplex and it's really cheap. Let's look at the pictures here really quick. Notice the repairs on the ceiling there. Want to make sure that that roof is good. It's got sticker floor. I haven't seen that in a long time. Carpet, yeah, so this needs a remodel and some severe, you know, trimming of weeds and plants and stuff. But it's a legit duplex. Now let's see what the makeup of the actual duplex is, because this could be a you know, diamond in the rough. It's a 3-1 and a 1-1. Okay, a 3-1 and a 1-1 in Lake Worth, which isn't a terrible area. All right, now I don't have Palm Beach here right now, but I think we could probably say it's the same, if not a little bit less than Broward County. All right, so a 3-1, well, it's definitely less than Broward County. A 3-1 in Palm Beach is going to be, let's see, in this kind of quality, I think that you might be able to get maybe like 1950 for it. And then, what was it, a 1-1? Yeah. And a 1-1, you might be able to get away with like $1,200, if that. Okay, so this $410,000 duplex in Palm Beach is probably going to be collecting $3,150. Okay, and the returns here are not going to be that great, right? A 9.1%. It's not the worst of the night, but it's not very good either. You know, is it in distress? We didn't see. Let's look at the folio number, see if they give us more information there. No, it doesn't look like it's distress from the folio number, at least. So what do I think that we could reduce this price by? Well, I definitely think that we could take a chunk of change here. Yeah, I don't see this guy taking less than $350, but let's say we are able to negotiate $60,000 off and bring this price down to $350. Let's say $360. So, yeah. If you can negotiate the price down to $360, this property would go from not making any sense whatsoever to making some sense at an 11.4%. But you would need to take off again that whole $50,000, which is more than 10%. But it happens, guys. Especially for properties like this, they're not going to get a lot of attention, right? And maybe you could actually do some market research and you find out that you could turn this into 222s, right? In Palm Beach. And if it's in a good area in Palm Beach, which I think it is, right? Then you could come here and you could say, well, what's a 2-2 in Broward County? Well, it's 1950, right? What if I can do that instead, right? Or sorry, 2-2-1s. So then all of a sudden you're getting 1960. The property could make a lot more sense, a whole lot more sense. Because the marginal benefit of an extra bedroom when you have a 2-1 to go to the 3-1 is not that much. But it's the marginal benefit of having a 1-1 that goes to a 2-1 is a lot, right? If you could do that, then this property has the potential to go up to like almost close to 30%, which would make this an amazing investment if you could negotiate that price off. So I would definitely take a look at this property. It doesn't look all that bad. once you start doing a little bit more homework into it, it has a lot of potential, I think. So definitely make a note. 27.5% return. It could have. So yeah. Okay. Let's go back. Let's discard this property. We're down to our last two here. Let's click on this one. Okay, so they want $595,000 for this fourplex in Miami-Dade that's currently paying $7,083 a year in taxes. All right, and they said they're collecting $3,700 a month in rent, which for a fourplex, that sounds like very little. So let's take a look at the pictures of the property. Okay, terrible pictures, but it doesn't look too terrible, guys. Location's pretty good. Yeah, location's pretty good. Let's look at the guts of this deal, see what we can figure out. So great opportunity to acquire cash flowing multifamily property in the emerging Little River neighborhood of Miami. Yep. Legal triplex is currently operating as a non-conforming fourplex. 3 units rented and 1 vacant, offering immediate income and additional upside. Property breakdown: 2 bedroom, 1 bath, rented for $1,500 a month. Let's write this down. $1,500. All right. Let's see. Unit 2, 1 bedroom, 1 bath, rented for $1,200. A 1 bedroom, 1 bath, rented for $1,000. And 2 bedroom, 1 bath, currently vacant, needs light work. Total current rent gross is $44,000. So right. So, well, that 2-1. What if you could get another $1,500 for that? Now you're up to $5,200 a month, right? So this property has potential. Again, I would go out there. I would make sure to take a look at the rents for the comparable for the neighborhood. See how big the units are. See how they chopped the unit, because remember, it's a triplex, and they turned it into a fourplex. So they did some chopping in there, right? You want to make sure that they, see, buyer to verify zoning and rental compliance. Let's look at the zoning. Dude, if you mention it, it's not good. All right, multifamily, 2 to 9 units. Multifamily, 3 units or more units. So they leave that open there, which is good. So I think that you're good with the zoning there. You want to double check, but it looks fine. Yeah. Yeah, guys. So if you rent them all out just at what they're getting for them, right? Let's write this down. $595,000 triplex turned fourplex in Miami-Dade. Their as-is rents right now, right, is $3,700, which makes that the return on investment here. The best is going to be a 7.7. But guys, what if you could actually rent the whole thing out? But listen, what if the choppedness, you could actually make it work, right? And the 2 ones, you can make them nice, because we didn't see that many. Well, the pictures on the inside, we saw a bit, but what if you could actually, really make this a little bit nicer, and the 2 ones, you get, median Miami prices for them, right? Now, the median Miami price for a 2-1 is $2,300. I'm not saying to go up to $2,300, but what if you could just get, $2,000? I mean, the location itself, I think it's worth it. And what if you get $2,000 for the other 2-1, right? And then for the 1-1s, let's say you get like $1,400, still below median, okay? God forbid you could go up, if you could actually bring this to median, you'd be killing it. This property can make you $6,800 a month, and you could buy it with $595. But you could use the guy's numbers and tell him like, hey, listen, man, give me $45,000 off, and you bring this down to like 550, right? Not 5 million, 550. Then all of a sudden this property is a killer, right? 83% return on investment. If you bring the rents up to $6,800, right? And then reduce this guy's price down by, what did we say? By 40. 83 freaking percent. Yeah, I'll take it. Dude, even if the taxes here double, or put a 1 in front of it, right? the return here would be ridiculous. So yeah, this property looks really nice. I mean, I would go check this property out. Now that said, let's look at our last property, see if it makes as much sense as this other one. All right, $650,000. It's a duplex in Miami-Dade. Taxes are $4,874 a year. Interest rate here, interest rate. It is what it is. Sorry, guys. It's getting late. And 20, let's see, living area, 2,305 square feet. All right. Total rents are $3,400. And flood zone X. Let's look at the quality of the property here. Okay, luxury backing. Interesting. Okay, it is what it is. Oh man, this is a very, very interesting. It's like they just grabbed all the like they just grabbed everything that was left over at like Home Depot and just like mishmashed a kitchen together. Yeah. Yeah, no bueno. So it requires definitely like some work to bring it up to date. Let's look at the guts of the deal, see what we could figure out. Um, Beautiful duplex, well maintained. Okay, on a month-to-month rent, not good. All right, the 2-1 they're renting it out for $1,600, and the 3-2 they're renting it out for $1,800. All right, I definitely think they could get more even for long-term rents in North Miami Beach. All right, but it is what it is. They said they're only getting that $1,600, 1,600, and then for the 3-2, 1,800. All right, that's $3,400. That means that the best return on investment this property is going to give you as is, if the taxes don't go up, which they definitely would at this point, would be a 5.9% return on investment. So now that being said, do I think that you could actually increase the rents here? Yes. Again, Miami-Dade, the median for a 2-1 is $2,300. So, and in this area, you should be able to get that $2,300, and then for a 3-2, well, depending on where in North Miami Beach technically, but a 3-2, I think that you could at least get the median for that, and that's $3,000. Right now, you're gonna have to negotiate the price, because you're gonna tell them like, hey, dude, you're actually getting these rents. That's not even gonna let me pay the mortgage. Okay, that doesn't even allow me to pay the mortgage. So I need you to, drop the price, so at least I could, get the mortgage. That's what I would say. And I would tell them to bring down the price more than 10% here, right? So I would tell them like, hey, I need you to bring this price down to, let's say 20% off. So $120,000 off, that would be, or $130,000 off. That would be 520, 520, right? Right? And at that point, you can tell them like, hey, it'll pay the mortgage at that point, right? So if you could actually take off 20%, which is 130K. Now that's a big price adjustment, right? But this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna actually say that. And first you gotta do your market research and see if you could actually bring these rents up. Because if you could actually bring these rents up, right? The 2-bedroom, 1-bath to the 2-bedroom, 1-bath here, if you could bring those rents up to the median in Miami, which is $2,300, and you could bring the 3-bedroom, 2-bath up to $3,000, now you're at a 1% kind of a property, right? And then the returns are 30%. And is this guy in some sort of does he owe back taxes? He does, for 2 years. So you could definitely, I think that, yeah, this is a candidate where you could actually, say like, hey, listen, I'll give you take $130,000 off, dude. You can't, like, I can't even get rents for this price. Like, you have a lot of ammunition to, I get excited. You get a lot of ammunition to negotiate here. So definitely do that, guys. And that's it. That's all for today. We actually really only analyzed 10 properties, because 2 of them, one was, there 2 of them didn't really fit the criteria. So with that being said, guys, we found a property that could give you as good as 27% return on investment. Another one that could give you as good as 83, and this one as good as 30. potentially. You got to do some more homework. You got to go in there. You got to make sure that you could get these rents. Try and negotiate, using the tactics that I gave you, whatever your realtor might throw at them, with the seller. Be kind, be cordial, be persistent, and man, you'll get deals. So with that being said, guys, I hope that you have a nice day, and I will see you tomorrow.